Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, we find out how people who suffered from flooding this time last year have turned things around, and we look at the development of a new cardiology department in Grimsby. And joining me in the studio is Erica Barker, who's here to review the newspapers. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, it's over to Richard Morris for the news headlines.
Hello there. It's been a year since the dramatic footage of a tidal surge which devastated coastal parts of the UK and the Humber region was seen across the country. This was the scene in Cleethorpes a year ago. The Met Office issued this many warnings last year. In tonight's news programme, you can see more on this report from our correspondent James Dunn. Hull City legends, including Nick Barmby and Dean Windass, are set to line up in a charity football match. The fixture is to raise money for the charity CRY, Cardiac Risk in the Young, who are aiming to make heart screening available to all 14 to 35-year-olds. The fixture is set to take place at 11 a.m. on December the 28th.
Obviously, it's a charity very close to the Supporters Club Heart, due to Richard Fell in particular, with Josh Fell's son. We've all learnt a lot about it. I didn't know much about it before, personally, and it's obviously a massive charity, CRY UK, and we're just happy to be giving something back for a change and supporting such a great cause. We enjoy it. It's we enjoy just turning up and kicking around and that, but I think once the first few tackles go in, it's always it spices things up a bit.
It's before the Leicester game. It's the only fixture that will be at home over the Christmas period, so we're hoping that quite a lot of fans will make the trip down to come and support them over Christmas.
This year's Smash John Lewis Christmas advert features an aspiring actor from Gainsborough. Isabel Foster plays the sister of the young man who's seen playing with his best friend Monty the Penguin in the ad, which cost £1 million to make and is part of their £7 million Christmas campaign. It was shot in the summer, and Isabel said she knew John Lewis would always go all out in the festive season, but couldn't have known quite how much of an impact it would make.
I know it was amazing to do it, and it's a really big job that I've done, so I really do hope it opens up more opportunities for me. I knew they were going to be big. I knew it was going to be big. The John Lewis adverts always are big, and I knew they're amazing anyway, but this year it's been really, really spectacular and really big.
And you can see that full interview in tonight's That Friday show, also available on our YouTube page. That's all from me. Bye for now.
Earlier this week, we heard about government plans for more than £80 million worth of flood defences on the Humber. But MPs are lobbying the government for a bigger plan worth nearly £1 billion over the next 10 years. And their motivation? To protect the Humber from the tragedy that happened a year ago today. High winds, high tides and a tidal surge combined, and the River Humber burst its banks, which had a devastating effect on coastal communities. James Dunn has this report on the lasting impact of last year's tidal surge.
It was mid-afternoon by the time the Met Office issued their most severe flood warning. So serious they deemed it a danger to life. And later that evening, the water breached sea defences, devastating coastal areas.
I couldn't believe that the road was flooded and they were turning us away. And that's really the first time I realised how serious it was. Well, it was destroyed basically downstairs. It was unlivable in. It was just horrible. Thick river mud. In fact, I was quite upset yesterday when I started putting the tree up because it brought it all back. It was heartbreaking.
It wasn't just homes that suffered. Many businesses and charities were forced to rebuild. Among them, the Seafarers Mission in Immingham, which was forced to close for 9 months as a result.
Well, when we came in the next morning after the tidal surge, we'd had up to 2 foot of water inside, all around the whole centre. Every room was damaged. We have a shop in there, things had floated about. We had a fish pond, the fish had come out and little dead bodies were all over the various floors. The whole centre was just covered in thick mud, silt, and stuff everywhere.
This place is now back on its feet thanks to hard graft and money from the insurance company. But to stop this happening again, the Humber will need a financial commitment from the government.
Well, I mean, the cost of bringing our defences up to a 1 in 200 year standard is anything from about 880 million through to 1.2 billion. That's the estimate. So we've just had 80 million announced for the next 5 years. So it's a big step up from where we're at the moment. But we think it's worthwhile because it protects not only homes but also local businesses and some national infrastructure like power stations, petrochemicals, things which are very important to the UK as a whole.
You're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, the mayor's going where? We catch up with the mayor of North East Lincolnshire to find out what he's up to, and Dan Kemp will bring you all the sports news. My guest today for the paper review is Erica Barker, our reporter here at Estuary TV. Erica's been with us for the last year or so, but she escaped over the summer for sunnier climes in Spain. Erica,
what an introduction, Hugh.
Bienvenido. ¿Cómo estás? How are you?
Oh.
And welcome back. What have you found in the newspapers?
Well, let's start with this one. So, Hull Daily Mail, it says prostitutes banned from city streets. Now, in a landmark ruling, prostitutes and curb crawlers found in the area around Hesel Road in Hull will be arrested and forced to appear in court. Now, it's the first time the orders have been used to tackle prostitution anywhere in the country. And while these acts are already illegal, the orders will enable the authorities to take offenders to court more quickly. And people breaching the order will be given one warning before being taken to court.
So I guess, well, the curb trawling is already against the law. That takes a while to prosecute through the criminal procedure, but because they're also now breaking a civil injunction,
Yes.
It's much quicker to deal with them as people who are in contempt of court, in contempt of that injunction, than it is just going through the usual criminal process.
Yes, so the process is a lot quicker, and this comes from residents basically saying that they felt that they were having to live in a brothel, really, what they were having to see, and that their thoughts weren't being considered as seriously as the women themselves. So I suppose this is Hull City Council stepping up by being granted this injunction order.
Righto. Okay, so that cleans up Hull a little bit.
Yes.
What else have you got?
Okay, so let's start with, well, not start with, let's move on to.
We shall proceed.
We shall proceed. So the second story then, so a £9 million regeneration plan, a topic of conversation in Scunthorpe. So basically, this is residents in the West Cliff area have been shown a full set of plans for the £9 million regeneration project. Now, the plan involves 5 phases of development and a total of 41 houses. Now, the first phase is due to start next year and will see a £2.5 million community enterprise hub being built. Now, obviously, in the light of Skint, they were the topic of the first series.
And this is the area that Skint was filmed in for the Series 1, wasn't it?
Yep, so Series 1 was in the area, and I think the aim of this regeneration is to improve the area and for it to move forward, really.
£9 million for 41 houses.
No, do you know what? It doesn't seem like it's going to go a long way, does it?
No, it doesn't. That doesn't seem like.
I have to think.
You know, 9 million here, 9 million there. It soon adds up to serious money, doesn't it?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
But investment in Scunthorpe much needed, clearly.
Yeah, but I mean, the residents have been looking at the plans, and I know with work, you know, due to start next year, it can only be a good thing that this is happening.
Very well. What else have you got? What's in the papers?
Well, talking of Skint, I know it has been discussed quite a lot.
Yes, it's popular in this town, isn't
it? It's a very popular conversation at the minute. But in the Grimsby Telegraph, I have why Skint came. Basically, they have a set of bullet points about why it is that the filmers of this show chose to come to this area, really. And it's quite scary, really, when you read the facts. You've got 51% of children are living in poverty. 312 crimes were reported in just 1 month. You have a lower than average life expectancy, last in an online table when it comes to the best places to live. And if that wasn't bad enough, you have obesity and binge drinking higher than the national average. And obviously reading them, you know, it's not a nice read at all, really.
No, it sounds pretty horrible. When it says it's the last place and desirable places to live, I mean, how much attention are they paying to southern Ethiopia or Helmand province?
I know. And all it says really is this is an online table. I don't have any facts about this online table.
Right.
So know, we don't really know the full extent of how legitimate it is, but nevertheless.
Also, these statistics, when they say some percentage of children living in poverty, you need a definition of poverty before you can, before that's in the least bit meaningful, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yes, I suppose so. But I suppose for the Grimsby Telegraph to report it, you know, they've obviously got these facts from legitimate places,
sure.
and it's not nice reading. I mean, if I could just go on to, you know, Councillor Leader Chris Shaw, he's been saying as well, it's been reported in the paper that, you know, he's not watching it. It doesn't tell him anything that he doesn't already know, and that the money, you know, they've invested, he says, around in the last 20 years, millions in the area, and that, you know, he's going to continue to regenerate the borough as a whole to attract investment and to create jobs. So maybe the money's going to be spread around the whole town, not concentrated on that area.
Well, if millions have already been spent on that area, it seems to have been a bit of a waste of money, doesn't it?
It is a little bit.
If it still fulfills all those criteria that Channel 4 were looking at to find its voyeur television.
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because obviously, you know, it's been reported about all the brilliant stuff that they do in that area as well. And, you know, it's not all bad, and it shouldn't be viewed that way. But
one more story, Erica.
One more story. What have I got? Oh, this is a good one. So Hull Daily Mail and the Humber Bridge, they had, just quickly if I can show you. So fancy a glass lift ride to top of the Humber Bridge. So this is with Hull being the City of Culture for 2017. They are hoping that you will be able to get a glass lift up the tower. In time for that, which I can imagine that being a little bit pricey, but I'd give it a go.
Well, I've been in these sort of outside lifts up and down skyscrapers before. Yeah. Quite scary, especially if they have a glass floor. You don't want to look down between your feet and see the Humber disappearing away from you as you're going up. It's very vertiginous. No. Horrible feeling. Would you do it? Would you have a ride?
I would, yeah. I'd be scared though, but I'd do it. I'd man up.
Absolutely love to do it. Erica, see you again in a moment.
Okie dokie.
It's time for the Mayor's Going Where, and this week we find out where Alex Baxter, the Mayor of North East Lincolnshire, is going.
On the Wednesday, I have a couple of appointments. At 11 o'clock, I will be at a dedication service for the opening of a new florist in Freeman Street, and this is a result of an allocation of money that were given to bring back a historic building into its previous glory, and I'm quite looking forward to that. I love old buildings, so that's going to be in the morning, and then in the afternoon I have to attend the citizenship ceremonies together with the Queen's representative at Grimsby Town Hall. These are for new people who are coming into the country, who have lived here for over 5 years, contribute to the country, and will be seeking to gain citizenship. Then on Thursday, we will be doing an opening of a new B&M store at Immingham. And of course, I'm going to hopefully go along there and support their endeavours in relation to bringing more opportunities for shopping and, of course, greater Christmas fare. And then at 12:45, the same day, so it's a pretty tight lunch hour, arrival of the Coca-Cola lorry at Freshney Place in Grimsby, and I think everybody would really like to see that because it's a pretty spectacular event.
Thank you, Your Worship. Alex Baxter, the Mayor of North East Lincolnshire. Back to the paper review, and Erica, I think you found a story about transport links.
Yes, so in the Hull Daily Mail this week it says, Transport Chief calls for better motorway links. Now the portfolio holder for Transport, Councillor Martin Mancy, wants...
Hull City Council.
Yes, Hull City Council. He wants to see motorways extended towards Hull. So he's looking at the extension of the M1 up to the Humber Bridge. Now he wants to see motorways extended because the city was left out of a 15 billion plan for new roads, and the city was left out of that. And he's saying that, you know, roads coming into Hull, you know, with expected increase in tourism, maybe when it comes to the City of Culture, and obviously, absolutely, you know, the city is on the rise, that people need to be able to get here quickly and sufficiently, really.
So if the M1 were diverted to come up through Lincolnshire and cross the Humber Bridge,
yes,
then what would happen to the old M1? That would be a route that would be destroyed and taken away, would it? The old East Coast main road, the Great North Road as it once was?
I do not know. I do not know the specifics of the plan. But I don't know.
I doubt anybody does, Erica. It doesn't
I
seem like
don't know.
it
doesn't
seems
know.
like an
Who
impossible
knows?
plan.
Who knows about the plan? Unless it means extended width-wise.
Well,
to get more lanes.
I know Hull, and I suppose the whole of our region,
Yes.
East Yorkshire and Northern Lincolnshire, they're all the great talk of this great northern powerhouse and linking,
yes.
making much better infrastructure and transport links between the cities of the north. And people will think immediately of Leeds and Manchester, Bradford,
Yes.
Sheffield, Liverpool perhaps.
Yes.
But we're at risk of being left out a bit, aren't we, unless we do make sure that we get our chunk of that infrastructure.
Yes, of course. And it's important, isn't it? I mean, as you said, with all the discussions that are happening, that infrastructure is in place for people to be able to get here, as quickly as possible.
And the same goes for the trains. If only we could stop having our little 5 mile an hour walk along, get out and push train from Cleethorpes to Doncaster. Life would be so much easier, wouldn't it?
It's true, it's true. And when you do have the high-speed rail link and stuff, and all the talk of, what's going on with that, but maybe the sooner the better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Get to work, please. What else? Next story.
So the Bridlington Free Press. I have that here. It's a sad one, this one, So a nunnery is set to close in Bridlington.
A nunnery?
It is, yeah.
Is that a non-profit making organisation?
Yes.
Has it got any bad habits?
That's terrible.
Is it?
But seeing as it's a Friday, I'll let you off.
Bit unconventional. What's the story?
Unconventional. So the story is they're not having enough people having vocations, to want to be in that building. I do have some of the facts here. It is currently there are 231 sisters ministering from 49 sites in Britain, with convents in Whitby and Filey. But unfortunately, there are not enough people, it seems, wanting to be nuns.
It's not a very attractive career choice, is it? I mean, you have to be very dedicated and very sure of yourself if you're going to dedicate yourself to a life as a nun, don't you?
It is, no, definitely. And it's the calling as well, isn't it?
Well, I guess it is. Of course it is, yeah.
I mean, I've not had the call.
Have you not, Erica?
No.
You astonish me.
But if I have the call, yes. I don't know what to say.
I'm sure it's very admirable. It's a very dedicated way of living. But
in all seriousness, I mean, it's a shame because this is a 1960s building, 10-bedroom property, beautiful property, and it's a shame that after all the heritage and all the history, that's having to close.
And of course, this has happened before in this country. 400 years ago, Henry VIII knocked down all the nunneries and the convents and the monasteries and the abbeys.
Yes.
And it's quite a recent thing. It's only in the 19th century that nunneries and monasteries and things were allowed to come back to this country. And now they're withering because lack of recruits.
Yes.
What do you think they do? They go out and try to recruit nuns? How would you do that?
I don't think they have a recruitment drive, do they? I think people maybe find them.
No nuns wanted ads in the papers or anything like that?
No, I don't think so, you.
What else have you got? Another story.
Okay, so this is a very serious story. So this is in the Hull Daily Mail. And we have emergency department given a 7.7 out of 10. Hospital boss says he is disappointed after patients rated Hull Royal Infirmary's emergency department as below average. Now, I'm sure, Hugh, you're the same as me, either yourself or people you know, the length of time they wait in A&E, that's been a big issue.
Yes.
I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? You go into an emergency department and you're having to sit there for hours, and I mean, it's unbelievable, but that's the case, really.
Well, it's if you're sitting there for 4 or 6 hours, you're not really being treated like an emergency, are you?
No.
And you could be in great agony during that time as well.
And I know, of course, obviously, they prioritise, don't they?
And well, I think they do. They triage.
Yes.
Erica, thank you very much. That's all we have
Thank
time for
you,
the
Hugh.
moment. Work has now started on a brand new £3.25 million cardiology unit, which hospital bosses say will reduce waiting times and improve the quality of care when it opens in the summer of 2015. It's an extension of the old unit, which only opened less than a decade ago, but adds a new state-of-the-art laboratory which allows them to develop heart failure services. James Dunn reports.
This empty corridor used to be the outpatients department. But now they've cleared the way for a ward that will mean huge improvements for heart patients. The current facility is less than 10 years old, but during that time, treatment has changed dramatically.
We've moved on, we're putting in more elaborate procedures, we're doing a lot of procedures, and that's going to allow us to do them very close to our own department, which we aren't at the present time.
Part of the problem is that currently a number of essential facilities are shared with other departments and based in other parts of the hospital. The new facility will change all that.
Yes, I mean, currently our coronary care unit is up near the wards on the 3rd floor, and that's where our day case unit is as well. The radiology department is on the ground floor, but on the other side of the hospital compared to our cardiology department. So our technicians and nursing staff and doctors are dragged in 3 different directions. This will at least have everybody very close to each other.
But the bottom line, of course, is what this will mean for patients.
Shorter waiting times, which would be the most significant thing, and greater access to a greater range of both investigations and treatments.
Now here's the sport with Dan Kemp.
Hull City play host to West Bromwich Albion in the Premier League tomorrow. The Tigers will be without Mohamed Diame, who left the field early in the draw with Everton on Wednesday evening. Scunthorpe United host Worcester City at Glanford Park in the FA Cup second round on Sunday. The Iron got through after knocking out Forest Green Rovers in round 1 and had 1 win from potentially meeting a Premier League or Championship club. North Ferriby United travel to Hyde in the Conference North. The home side sit bottom of the division and the Villagers welcome back Danny Hone following his suspension. Ferriby are looking to go 8 games unbeaten in the league. As mentioned yesterday, Cleethorpes Town hosted a consultation event last night for the public to have their say on plans to develop the ground. It's hoped that plans, if approved, will allow the men's first team, who currently play at Bradley pitches, to return home.
The whole community benefits. I mean, Cleethorpes Town can come home, which is a big thing for us. By having a 3G pitch, it will mean that all our juniors can train on it during the week. The cricket facilities will be better so that we have lots of different teams and play on it during the weeks in the summer. And of course, we're looking at netball as well, which I think there's only one netball court in Grimsby to my knowledge.
The whole thing will be an improvement as the plans, but our greatest concern at the moment is whether they can lay a bowling green and get it settled down to bowl on in a relatively short time.
The Hull Stingrays host the Coventry Blaze tomorrow and are at Braehead on Sunday, and Rugby League National League 2 North, Hull Ionians host Stourbridge, and that's all for the sport.
That's it for this week. Contact us at the usual ways. Email news@estuary.tv or contact us through social media via Twitter or Facebook, or pick up the phone and give us a call on the number that is now appearing on your screen. Have a good weekend. Join me again on Monday. That's all for now, though. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. A bright morning with clouds slowly thickening during the day, with winds strengthening, eventually becoming slightly milder. Some outbreaks of rain are possible later, with maximum temperatures of 9 degrees. Cold and windy on Sunday with sunshine and scattered heavy showers, some wintry, with maximum temperatures of 7 degrees.